Okay.
And just hitting record. Good afternoon and welcome to Monday Meditations and Musings. That's my little catchphrase now, kind of like And this is Ali Dear over here on this side. Hopefully you can see this double screen view. For Ali, it is 7 a.m. in the morning in the UK. And I'm just checking the live is happening on the page. Ali, would you, while I'm just checking, do you want to just go through a little bit about your background, if that's okay?
Yeah, sure. So I originally did exercise science as my first degree. That's what I first studied. I did exercise science at Sydney Uni. And I used to do a lot of work with, training people, doing lots of sports rehab work and training people. And particularly I started working with cyclists leading up to the Tour de France and spent a year in France working with cyclists.
That must have been interesting.
Very, very, very interesting. And the work was amazing. Obviously it was fun to live in France for a year, but I think the biggest thing that happened during that time was, well, actually twofold. First thing that happened was I realized that if you weren't eating the right food, didn't matter how hard you trained, and even at that elite level, you know, you'd think that they would have their nutrition down pat, but they didn't at the time. We're talking what? Talking about my age, talking about 15 years ago now that I was doing this. And these pro cyclists did not know what to eat properly, and so they weren't getting the correct performance. And at that elite level, you just can't be messing around with that. And so then I actually went back and studied nutrition postgrad because I realized, not only at that elite level, but hey, all of us every day, if you're not putting in the right stuff into your system, you're not going to be performing at your best. And whether that means, being able to think straight, being able to have good memory recall, being able to have good sleep, being able to have a good mood. A lot of people don't sort of think about what they put into their mouth as affecting their mood. Everyone knows, and everyone can go, yep, okay, I was in a really crap mood, and so I ate a whole bag of M&Ms or whatever it is for you. And you know that you reach for something to try to make you feel better. But do you actually think about the reverse of, instead of grabbing something because of how you feel, what about what you're putting in and how that's making you feel? So I started doing a lot of work around that, of the connection of food and mood, and started working a lot more with women, because I think, being a woman myself, I think we've all been there at some point in time where you eat perhaps the foods that you really shouldn't be eating, and it starts to really affect you negatively on a physical level, but also on a mental and emotional level. So I started doing a lot of that work. And in that time frame of me studying my nutrition, changing sort of the people I work with, not so much the sports people anymore, but more women, I actually had a bad cycling accident myself.
So you cycled as well?
Yeah. Had a really bad cycling accident. Hit and run, thank you very much, whoever that was. and that turned me to yoga. So everything happens for a reason, right? That's what.
So you went to yoga for recovery kind of thing, or it was the only kind of?
Yeah, it was the only thing I could do. I was frustrated. I couldn't do cycling anymore. I couldn't go for a run. I would probably have described myself as the typical A-type personality. Go until you hit the wall. And very sporty, competitive, and then had this accident. And so I couldn't do a lot. And to be honest, I went to probably 3 different classes before I thought, actually, this is something I like. The first 2 were just not my style, maybe not my teacher either. And I went and I thought, my God, I can't do this. What is this? and then the next one I went to, I was like, oh my God, that was amazing. Where's this been all my life? And hey, you know what? I reckon I could actually even really get into this and do this. And so the more I started doing it, and then I went, oh, actually, I'd love to teach this to people, because I've got my anatomy and physiology background really strongly from exercise science. Yeah, and I could see the potential of how not only it would help people on a physical level, help them recover, but also that mental and emotional level, which I think is just so important. Yeah, so that's what led me to that.
So I agree wholeheartedly. Without all your, experience in education, that I see it so much in students that come to my yoga studio, and just through myself, that like, to me, it felt like it was at least 80% diet, 20% exercise. Like, honestly, that's what I feel like I worked out over the years. And you see these people just like, eating whatever they want and just exercising nonstop. Or, I even seen a few people that do, elite bodybuilding, elite, all sorts of stuff. And you're like, how do you do it? Oh, my dog. Sorry, I hope that's not too loud.
That's all right.
But yeah, it's so important. And for the mood, exactly what you're saying. And I think whenever there's anxiety or depression involved, those really simple, drink more water, sleep regular times, which is hard with the young ones, and eat good food and exercise, the basics are so true.
Absolutely. And I mean, people don't realize as well, you could be potentially, you could be eating a really good diet. I'll put that in inverted commas, a really good diet, because we're not going to talk about diet today, but you could be eating a really good diet, and you could be exercising. Like you say, exercising, you think you're doing the right thing, you're working out really hard in the gym or doing lots of running or whatever it is for you. But if you are under a great amount of stress and your cortisol levels are way through the roof, do you know what's going to happen? You're going to be retaining body fat either way. It doesn't matter. I mean, it matters to a degree, but you could be eating a brilliant diet and still be finding really hard to shift the weight if your cortisol levels are really high.
Interesting. I didn't think of that.
And what high cortisol levels have been really correlated with putting on body fat, particularly around the waistline. So, if you're one of those women and you think you're eating the right foods, but you're not sleeping well and your stress levels are high, and you start stacking it on around the middle, I'd be hazarding a guess that you need to be really focusing on your cortisol levels. Yeah. And interestingly, there's been a lot of research on things like yin yoga or restorative yoga and the benefits for weight loss because of that effect on decreasing the cortisol in your system, by helping you to relax, helping women to slow down, and therefore you're getting the benefits. While you may not be going for a run and really working your cardiovascular fitness, you're not burning off so many calories while you do the activity, but you are decreasing the cortisol level and really nourishing your body, sending your body into that rest or digest instead of being in fight or flight. So moving into your parasympathetic nervous system, calm.
Another bonus. I'll be using that in my next few classes. Not only are you calming your nervous system, you're helping with the body fat. That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Ellie, I know we're not totally focusing on diet, but if anyone's got any diet questions, please go ahead. But could I ask, I'm just interested for myself as well, like, what do you do? I assume you agree that there's not one diet for everybody. Everybody seems, some people thrive on eating meat, some people don't, some people seem to be able to eat this and that. How do you deal with that? I mean, do you have a one diet suit for everybody, or when you see people, do you, I know, like, do you kind of have to?
No. Look, there is what you call bio-individuality. Yeah, so everybody is slightly different. You're all made up slightly different, but there are going to be some rules that are applicable to all. Yeah, and you've probably even mentioned some of them already. Sleep is a really big factor. It's not something you eat, but it's something you need to do to help your cells in your body. There's a lot of evidence now for having even if you're not vegetarian, but a highly plant-based diet is going to be...
Can't go wrong there, really. Yeah.
Sorry?
Can't go wrong with vegetables. Yeah.
Yeah.
Surely nobody said...
Highly plant-based diet. It's And it's funny because I'm a nutritionist, but a lot of the things I feel like I'm telling people is not necessarily rocket science. You know, don't eat the junk stuff, don't eat processed foods, eat more foods in a natural state. So there is that evidence for plant-based diets. I am vegetarian, but I don't make all my clients go vegetarian. It doesn't work necessarily for everybody. And I think a lot of people going vegetarian, they need to be really careful, because I see a lot of women, and especially people interested in yoga, going vegetarian. And I would say that they go grainitarian instead of vegetarian. They just start eating lots of pasta and rice, thinking, oh, well, I've got to replace the meat with something, and they're not actually getting adequate protein. So, you know, with a good diet, lean protein sources, lots of veggies, and some really good quality fats. Yeah, they'd be my three biggest things, you know, at every single meal. Lean protein, lots of, you know, nice veggies, fibrous veggies, you know, colorful veggies, so you're getting lots of your micronutrients, so getting all your vitamins, your minerals, and making sure that you also get you know, those anti-cancer properties. So your cruciferous veggies are really important.
I'm loving cauliflower at the moment. I'm just totally in love with it. Also, I have it nearly every meal.
Yeah,
so I know that's a big cancer fighting one.
Yeah, cauliflower, broccolini, any of those
cabbage,
flowery looking things. But then
all the stinky
ones,
all the stinky ones
that are, you know, good for antioxidants as well, so free radical scavenging, so you're not aging faster than you should be. But you know, those three principles, if you go, look, lots lean protein, lots of, fill up your plate with loads of fresh, colorful, you know, vegetables, not from a packet, and having good quality fats. I think a lot of women especially also get scared about fat and start cutting out too much fat from their diet.
I'm walking around, as I'm actually cooking beans at the moment, and I can hear them still sizzling.
There we go, everybody. This has become a cooking show.
You know those Vietnamese green beans? I decided I had to turn them off because have you ever had those? They're delicious. So that's nice. I was just thinking colour. There was red and green in there and stuff. That's great.
Yeah, what I was just saying is, a lot of women cut out too much fat. They get scared and cut out fat.
People become fat obsessed, don't they?
Yeah. So making sure that you've got your omega-3 in particular. So
especially if you don't eat fish.
If you don't have fish, that's okay. Yeah. Making sure that you're having lots of like flaxseed oil, flaxseed, linseed, same thing. Having chia seeds, having hemp oil. They're really, really important sources. And then nuts and seeds are also really beneficial, like pumpkin seeds. And remembering ABC, so almonds, Brazils, and cashews.
Oh,
and
nice.
Walnuts. So ABC, W.
Yeah, everything in moderation as well. I find I had a problem with cashews for a while because I was eating a lot of them. They were giving me a headache, and I had to stop. Because like if you're eating vegan foods, most of the cheese is all just made out of cashews, and you kind of get a little bit of an overload. I just noticed Therese is saying, hi Therese, and Catherine was like, no, that's me. And I'm thinking that's probably keeping the weight on with the high cholesterol. I'm assuming that's when she wrote that. So she's, you know, or A-type, you know, go, and eating the right foods but still putting the weight on. I don't know if that's right, Catherine, but when I saw that message come in,
and I mean, if anyone wants to ask questions, obviously, you know, after today, flinging my way, I'm quite happy to have a chat. So
good. Can I ask one more question? I've also been told, I didn't realise I was going to have so many. Sorry, Ali.
That's all right.
Do you have a moment too? I didn't ask you about your time limit with the kids and stuff, so I don't want to go over time.
That's okay. My other half is downstairs with the kiddos, but he does have to go to work, so we can't stay too long.
Okay. It's my last question anyway. I'm really curious because I love capsicums. So the capsicums and the tomatoes and potatoes and eggplants or something, apparently nightshades and in some beliefs, and that they can be irritating. And I'm just wondering what your thoughts are, because I love capsicum, fresh capsicum. I do know that when I eat raw tomato at night, I get achy. Maybe that's just me. So I try and have it cooked. So do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, look, I mean, there has been discussion around the nightshades and the nightshades causing issues with things like arthritis and gout. Not so necessarily scientifically proven.
Okay.
But people do find that if you do get an irritation from it, that cooking it does help. But the main thing that has been found also is having things like vegetables high in magnesium. So any of your dark green veggies is going to help to offset some of those problems that you're having.
Lovely. Yeah, great.
That's the main finding,
And so I just wanted to see if you've got anything to share with everyone regarding how you've coped through a lot in the last year. Some people who would have seen me talking leading up, I spoke about Ali losing both her parents within 12 months, having to evacuate from the massive Australian bushfires, which would be traumatic enough, and funny that I say that, but Ali finds that the least traumatic of the whole thing. Then moving all the way over the UK with your little kids to go straight into COVID, and trying to study and trying to run your business, how do you do it?
Well, I would just say yoga. That's the simple answer is, all I can say is thank goodness for yoga in my life. And I don't just mean yoga, pulling out a mat and doing an asana practice. A lot of people, particularly, Western society, hear the word yoga and think that means doing a few poses on a mat. Or even worse, making it more of like an exercise class on a mat. I would say, the thing that's really helped me the most and I've got a 3.5-year-old and a 2-year-old, and it doesn't always work out that your kids sleep through the night. I can tell you right now, both mine don't. It's nice if they do, but it doesn't happen. Most nights they do wake up and need a quick reassurance that mum's there, and then they go back to sleep. But when you're doing that for 3.5, 4 years, it's interesting. But the thing that gets me through is the practices of yoga in my daily life. So I'm not just talking about the mat. What I'm talking about is breath work, pranayama, thinking about prana being your life force, and pranayama being a cultivation of life force. So you're actually really using that to sustain your energy. So if you're feeling pretty crappy, you've eaten great food, you've not slept very well at night because of kids or because of stress, something going on in your life, I think one of the most important things for me that has helped is breath work. And then also more of a bhakti type of yoga. So, having that loving devotion within your everyday. So it's a type of yoga, and cultivating that kindness and loving kindness throughout your actions. So instead of begrudgingly going and getting your kids their pillow or their special little toy that they wanted to snuggle, how can you do that with kindness and imagining? And I think the easiest way to think of it is imagining that someone is doing it for you and how you'd like them to do it, and therefore how you'd like to do things for them.
That's beautiful.
Sorry?
That's beautiful. Yeah.
And so
hard to remind yourself sometimes, but yeah.
You do, and you do. And I'm not perfect at it, I can tell you now. But I think just meditation, yes. Meditation doesn't mean that you have to sit down. I think a lot of the mums I work with, because mums are who I work with the most, you don't have a lot of time as a mum. Things happen, kids cry, something changes within a heartbeat. But if you can squeeze in little snippets all throughout your day to help to build up your energy levels, to help to decrease your cortisol, and to help you to maintain that element of calm throughout your day, then you're going to get through each day. And day after day, you'll feel better. So just maintaining that is the most important thing. And I think bringing it in, not just, and a lot of women say, I don't have time to sit down and do a meditation for half an hour. I'm not asking you to do half an hour. I'm asking you to do it daily. I think, Sam, you'd know, doing a daily practice and building that, that tapasya we'll talk about, where you do something daily, it builds a lot more strength than doing something once a week. And it'd be the same thing with you. If you wanted to get fit, doing something for 10, 15 minutes every day is going to help you a lot more than going for a run once a week.
Yeah.
And
Same going a yoga class. Yeah. One yoga class
you'd
a
be better
week.
off doing a little bit every day than doing one chunk at the end of the week. Yeah.
Not that it's not beneficial. Still beneficial, but not as
It
beneficial.
still helps, but doing daily practice, you're going to be a lot better
it's
off.
huge. Yeah, absolutely. And that I think kind of leads quite nicely into what you're now offering, because I know you I don't know if you're doing a few different things at the same time, like nutrition and yoga and whatever, or whether you're focusing on this course that you're doing for mums and bubs. Would you mind sharing a little bit about that?
Yeah, look, I'm definitely doing nutrition and yoga, but I'm a big part of what I'm building and working on at the moment, and not far off, is to really nurture and to look after mums. So the program is called the Mother Nurture Method. So Mother Nurture Method, and I think one of the biggest problems I see and have spoken to so many women about is, while you're pregnant, you get a great deal of information given to you. You get told, how to eat, how to look after yourself for the benefit of the baby and for the benefit of you and the baby while you're pregnant. And that's beautiful. But then I think a lot of women find you have your baby and then all the focus goes on to the baby about how to help the baby sleep, how to burp them, how to feed them, etc., etc. And the poor mum gets lost. And what happens is, the mum gets burnt out. They're up a lot, feeding throughout the nights. It's a whole new world of different level of stress. You've got this beautiful baby, which is amazing, but then a lot of women find it's a very lonely time. You're stuck awake in the middle of the night, staring into the dark or looking at walls. You're by yourself, and you've also just changed who you are completely. And so you lose your identity, I guess, as well. So the program is all around nurturing the mum, because if mum's not looking after herself, then the rest of the family is going to be in big trouble. If you're not feeling good, you're not going to be looking after your relationship with your partner. You're not going to be looking after your baby to the best of your ability. And
or other children.
So it's my passion to really ensure and to support mums and their partner, especially through that first year that can be so trying for most people. So and the program incorporates nutrition, so making sure you're putting in the good stuff. That's one thing that has helped me as well through all this stress. Make sure you're eating well. A lot of people turn to junk food or alcohol or whatever it is when they're stressed, which unfortunately is going to be a double-edged sword. It's not going to help you. And then making sure that you've got the right practices in place too.
That sounds amazing. Because in just giving birth, when I was giving birth, I had a really bad back, and for me it would be best to have been upright to give birth rather than lying on my back. And I already knew that, and I was trying to tell the nurse I needed to be upright, and she's like, you're not my importance, you're not of importance to me, it's the baby's health. So that was the start of it, and that's it. You'll see it's all about baby. As long as baby's happy, as long as baby's this, the baby's that. It's like, hang on, what about mum?
How's that guilt
especially
feel?
the way we are now. We don't
I was going to say mums put so much mother guilt on themselves. They don't need everyone else doing it.
And like in the past we had aunties and uncles and cousins in that village to help, and that's not the case for most families anymore. These Western families are just like husband and wife, and sometimes you might have an auntie, sometimes you might have a grandmother, but often you're just doing this job solely. Dad's going off to work, he's going to help a little bit, or I'm generalizing, but it's a hard job. And I think I've said this to you before, I wish I had something like a 3-month course to get me through because those first 3 months were the hardest. Definitely. I mean, I'd have to say 1.5 years, 2 years for both of mine, because they were preemie reflux babies, so it was hell. But the first 3 months was the most hell. But I'm being conscious of your time schedule, because I know you've got to go, the kids and hubby's got to go to work. So did you have anything else you wanted to share? And I'll check any questions. And if not, did you want to lead off into a meditation for us?
Yeah, for sure. No, I think you've sort of mentioned it all, Sam, and I'm very, very excited about the program that I'm putting together, and I can't wait to help support a lot of women through that difficult time, and not forgetting their partners as well.
Yeah, lovely.
You need a strong partner to help a strong woman.
Beautiful.
So,
Love it.
I'm looking forward to helping them through that, so they can, especially through that first year. Like you say, it's not just the first 3 months. That first year is hard, and probably even beyond that. But definitely that first year. And I think just helping people to feel supported, strong, calm, connected, rather than feeling exhausted and overwhelmed.
Yeah,
that's really important to me. It's close to my heart. So
yeah, I think heaps of women planning babies in the future would definitely be considering your services. I would recommend them for sure, because you want to be completely armed and ready. I know that's war terminology, but you do. You got to survive. All right, so I'm going to hand the screen over to you and let you guide us through. I believe you're saying, this is an example of how it can be nice and short and sweet for busy mums.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate the time you've given us this morning. I'm just going to put the screen onto you.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we're going to do 2 different things today. And while absolutely I think these practices are very short, very simple, good for mums to be able to do, if you've got a moment, you've just put baby to sleep. Take the time, 5 minutes is really all it needs. Obviously, if you can spend longer, brilliant. But we're going to go into these 2 practices, and you don't need to be a mum to benefit. These are beautiful for everybody, but just nice and short, so they can be done by mums. So first of all, I'm just going to get you to place your hands over your heart space, over your heart chakra. As a mum, and energetically, your heart center is often externally from your body. It sounds bizarre if you're not into that or not read a lot, but because you're looking after and you're caring others, so you are extending outwards towards your children. So just placing your hands over your heart, closing down your eyes, and just start to notice your breath. Bringing out prana, your life force. And just taking even a moment to close your eyes and even notice your breath without consciously trying to do anything else. Probably the first thing you do is you notice you slow it down. Without me even telling you to slow it down. That's probably what you've done. Maybe you've started to breathe a little bit deeper. Breathing in and breathing out and following it all the way in and all the way out. I want you to pay particular attention to the exhale. The inhale will just happen naturally, but really focusing on that emptying out. Maybe you even say to yourself, breathing in, calm. Breathing out, stress. One of my teachers used to say, in all the ways I am blessed, as you breathe in. And breathing out all the ways you are stressed on the way out. Breathing in. And then breathing out. And just taking a few more full deep breaths yourself. I want you to see if you can make the exhale almost twice as long as the inhale. Just doing one more of your own long breath, just like that. And then you can just release the hands onto your lap or onto your thighs. Whenever you're ready, just gently blink open the eyes. So that was super, super short, just a few moments of checking in with your breath. We're going to do one other really short one as well, Sam. So that was just one, so simple, but we tend to forget just even tuning in, slowing down, what difference that can make to how you're feeling. So we're going to do another one. It's actually going to be moving with your breath this time. Really, really beautiful for mums in particular, but good for anybody. Really beautiful for mums in particular, especially if you're holding babies, you're picking up kids all the time. Even if your kids are older kids now, they're not necessarily baby, but you know, working, you're working over a laptop, you're working over a stove, you're working in a car, you've got your arms forward a lot of the time, and that closes off your heart space. So we're really wanting to open up the chest, open up the heart space, open up and tap into that beautiful, loving energy. But again, with the breath, you're going to link your thumbs like they're a little butterfly and put them over your heart. So you're going to need to watch me for the first couple of rounds. So yeah, that's it, Sam, got it. Over your heart space, but the thumbs are kind of linked. So we're going to do this together a couple of times, and I'll get you to close your eyes and do it your own timing, okay? So working with the breath, as you inhale, you're going to bring your elbows up towards the sky and maybe even look up if that feels okay on your neck as you inhale. Keep the thumbs linked. As you exhale, push them towards me. Really push them towards me. Tuck the chin towards your chest as you exhale. Beautiful. As you inhale, now open out your arms, bend the elbows, lift your heart, look up skyward. And again, exhale, but this time bring your hands towards your heart like you're drawing all that energy back to your heart space, chin towards the chest. Good. You're going to inhale, reach your left hand out towards the side, and all the way behind you, watch where your fingertips go. And as you exhale, bring your hand back towards your heart. And inhale, reach your right hand behind you, watch the fingertips all the way behind you. And as you exhale, bring them back to your heart. So we're going to do exactly that again. You might close your eyes and just listen this time. Inhale, lifting the elbows, chin towards the sky. As you exhale, press towards me, chin towards your chest. Really push the hands forward, round through the spine. Inhale, open your heart, bend the elbows, look up again. And as you exhale, hands come to the heart space, chin towards the chest. Inhale to reach the left hand all the way behind you. Exhale, bring your hand back towards your heart. Inhale, go the other way, reach, 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 feeling that stretch and twist in the upper body. Exhale, hand back towards your heart. So with the eyes closed, I'll do it one more time together. Inhale, lifting the elbows, chin up. Exhale to press away. Inhale, bend the elbows, lift your heart. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale to reach behind you. You're watching with your mind's eye. Exhale, hand comes back. Reach the other way. Hands back to heart. I want you to do it just 2 more times yourself without me saying necessarily, lifting the elbows. And then pressing away. Opening up. And your hands to your heart. You'll reach. And back to the heart. Do one more time without me saying a word, just breathe. When you finish, whenever that is, just rest your hands over your heart again. Keep the eyes closed. Just feel how that is in your body, how you've opened up the torso a little bit, your back of your heart space, the front of your heart space. You've been using that beautiful breath. And while doing the movements, there's nothing else you could possibly be thinking of but doing those movements and breathing. I often like to say, you know, as a mum, as a human being, you know, practice being present rather than perfect. Being in that present moment. We're just going to seal that practice with the sound that corresponds with your heart chakra, the seed sound, which is yum. But Y-A-M, but it sounds like yum, like yummy. So take a big breath in. Yum. keep feeling that reverberation underneath your hands and into your heart space, nourishing your heart space, nourishing your nervous system. And then whenever you're ready, just releasing the hands, just blinking open your eyes. Yeah, so hopefully that felt good and that was really enjoyable for you. And as you could see, they're two really, really short things to do, but really nice. Just if you get caught up in your day, in that stress, in that overwhelm, you can feel your cortisol levels creeping up. Just something just really simple. It doesn't have to be half an hour. There's something to tap back into your center, to yourself. Build up your internal strength. Well done.
That was beautiful. I really enjoy those movements. And that's what so many people forget. They just think, if you can just stop for a couple of moments and be present and breathe and do some of the wonderful things you've suggested, it's really, really beneficial. It's really beneficial.
Powerful.
I remember I'd sometimes, my husband would ask if I was okay. I'd just lie down on the floor wherever I was. Sometimes it was in the hallway, and I would just lie there and feel the back of my head on the floor, my upper back, on the elbows on the floor, and it was just like, I'm in it. And then I'd get back up. I was like, I just had to recharge for a second. Then? Yes, right then. I had to do it right then.
Yes.
Yeah.
And most women forget that you can.
Yes.
You're allowed.
Yeah,
you're allowed.
That it's encouraged. Oh gosh, I don't know who that is, but I should probably call that because I called it a couple of times.
I'm going to have to run now too.
Yes,
I can hear the kids. I can hear my hubby.
Oh no. Thank you so much for your time, and it was so enjoyable and so informative, and I really appreciate it. And have an awesome day over in the UK. We didn't even talk about
pleasure.
COVID, but I hope the numbers
Thanks,
are going
everybody.
down. Oh no, it's just, who wants to talk about stressful stuff anyway? We'll focus on the positive and the good. Thank you so much, Ali.
My pleasure. Bye, lovely.
Bye.